Now, the Lagos State Ministry of Education has shut down one private nursery and primary school in the state over the death of a 5-year-old boy. The Lagos State Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, announced this in a statement on Monday. She said the school will remain closed pending an administrative investigation of its operations and producers, as well as the conduct of its officials in line with schools' safety standards and guidelines. Adefisayo advised parents whose children are pupils of the school to note the closure and await the conclusion of administrative investigation. Now, we now have joining us live via phone from Lagos, educationist Dapo Adaramewa, who is Director, Distinct Star Group of Schools, Lagos, to talk to us about this. Thank you for joining us on the news update.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, this is coming more than a month after this incident happened. There are concerns about, whether or not the school itself is even registered, from what we've heard. So, what would you make of, this incident and the action of the government coming at this time?
I think it is a very, very heartbreaking incident, and my heart really goes out to the parents involved in this case. It's always very disastrous when things like this happen. But rightly so, you've pointed out that, some of these schools are not actually registered. And these are the things that we as parents must, look out for. Because there are certain guidelines that the Lagos State Ministry of Education insists that we have in place. There are certain teachings that they offer. And there are certain checks that they do to ensure that schools comply with certain standards. And so it's very important that we look out for schools who are unregistered to avoid these schools, because oftentimes they just don't even know their basic duties as a school.
Now, according to the story, how the whole incident happened, this children from the school were said to have been taken to Ivory Health Club, for swimming lessons. And it turns out that these children, as children, will always play around. And then in the process, one of them fell into the pools. And, that was how one of them died. What does that say about, the preparation and the plans of having this kind of extracurricular activities, taken by schools, and the need to also have whether what do you call instructors now, or is it lifeguards around some of these facilities to avoid this from happening?
Yes, I think both the health club and the school are very complacent in this. I think any standard school will understand that whenever you are taking children out, you have to maintain a healthy staff to student ratio. It is generally advised that you shouldn't have any more than 4 students to every member of staff. Now, had they had such numbers guarding those students, it would have been very easy for any staff member to notice when one of their 4 children has, is not where he's supposed to be. And then also the fact that there seem to not be a lifeguard on duty, particularly when children are swimming in an adult swimming pool, is just testament to the incompetence of the health club themselves. And these are people which, they need to be held responsible for their actions, because a life has been lost, and it's something that can never be repaired. It can't be compensated.
All right. Now, there are lessons definitely to learn from this. I mean, from the angle of the government, what can be done to take proactive steps to ensure that such things do not even happen, in terms of monitoring and making sure that any school that have any form of extracurricular activity have what it takes to actually ensure the safety of children?
Yes, I think the first step the government needs to do is ensure that schools that are not registered, there's an inquiry into why schools are not registered if they are not. and to ensure that all schools, both particularly registered ones and those who they are going to work on to get registered, are aware of the health and safety guidelines as provided, by the ministry itself. And occasionally there should be tests, and such to ensure that these kind of things are in place. And then I guess the lesson for the school itself is that any responsible school should make every effort to ensure that they have a good staff to student ratio when leaving the school. There needs to be timely checks. From what I understand, the child was underwater for 30 minutes. It shouldn't happen. A child should not be out of sight for even 1 minute, let alone that amount of time.
Well, it's quite an unfortunate incident. Thank you so much for joining us on the news update and giving your own perspectives on this. We appreciate that.